Good morning, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for attending our session today, Solving Critical Business Challenges, leveraging the technology that Cre8tive is bringing to market. You'll get a good understanding of our PLM, PDM, and DMS data management solutions for managing a host of critical business challenges. Today, Jacob West will be leading our discussion. Jacob has many years of experience and knowledge in helping formulate great solutions for our customers. You'll get a great understanding of how technology will be able to address your needs. You'll see QR codes throughout the presentation. Feel free to take a picture. It will direct you to a landing page where you can add your personal information, and we can follow up with any additional information that you might request during the session. And I would also ask that we keep all of our questions to the end of today's presentation, and our speaker, Jacob, will be able to address all of your concerns or questions using the chat that is loaded into Teams. So with that, I'm going to turn the floor over to Jacob West to begin the session.
Hey, thank you, Bob. And welcome again to today's webinar. My name is Jacob West. I'm the Director of PLM Solutions for Cre8tive Technology and Design, and I've worked with our PLM, PDM, DMS solution stack for about the past 10 years, working with multiple different companies and multiple industries to leverage the technology to their benefit. So we appreciate you taking the time from your day to participate, and we hope that you get some benefit from today's talk. First, just a little bit about Cre8tive. We specialize in helping companies implement and make the most of manufacturing and engineering technology, again, across multiple industries. We're a large team, over 120 members, and we focus on delivering these solutions to our customers day in and day out. We partner with the Profile platform that's developed and managed by Revelize Software as our service platform for our PDM and PLM solutions. We've partnered with Revelize for over the past 10, 15 years to deliver this solution to multiple customers, and we also partner with other ERP vendors to provide this solution as well as part of their base platform. We have a full service approach, implementations, consulting, development. We have a dedicated development team, and our strategic partnerships and proven track record are visible throughout our large customer base in North America and also in Europe. The focus of today's webinar is solving common business challenges in PLM, and our team brought up the three most common challenges that we face and see when we're implementing our software with customers, and we felt it valuable to relay those common challenges and how our solutions can tackle those challenges. The three most common business challenges we see are, first, data silos. So what I mean by data silos is storing all of your data in multiple different places across different systems, and typically that means one department is working from one source of data while another department might be working from a different location that's supposed to have the same data, but inevitably sometimes there are differences, and sometimes those differences can make all the difference. It also usually requires multiple systems, and there's multiple licenses and multiple software management tasks and duties that your internal IT teams and other teams have to manage and deal with. Also, the next biggest challenge is integration gaps. Again, usually with multiple systems, those systems don't necessarily talk to each other. This lack of communication between those systems can sometimes be a challenge when you're wanting to have your teams work from the same base set of information. And the third that we'll talk about today is uncontrolled business processes. And what I mean by that is lack of standardization and enforcement around your business processes, things like change management, document release, new product introduction. Those processes, while they may be documented in some form or fashion in a diagram or a workflow that's accessible to your teams, there's typically not much enforcement around how your teams use that information to conduct their day-to-day activities. So there may be a framework in place, but there's not enforcement around making sure that that framework is followed consistently every time. Let's jump into the first challenge. Data silos. There's a number of different reasons why data silos can be an actually hidden cost in your organization. Inconsistent and disparate data that's not connected and not in a single source of truth can lead to incorrect versions. It can lead to confusion amongst your team members on what version is the correct version, or even where to access that information. This is especially critical in compliant and regulated industries, but the trend in a lot of different business verticals is that this is becoming more and more prevalent, and the requirement to be traceable and auditable in your business processes is becoming more and more prevalent. It's not enforced in your industry. Searchability and ease of access is also a strategic method for streamlining your operations. You can drive productivity and eliminate frustration and complexity when users are trying to find data by properly classifying it and storing it in a centralized source of truth, and making sure that all of that data is readily accessible in one place instead of scattering it across multiple different sources. If you had all of your engineers' designs stored in one secure place and location with revision control, and have the ability to control the numbering and the file naming conventions and the workflows around how your data is processed, that centralized source of truth can be a huge benefit to your company. Our solution allows for you to create that single source of truth. Our platform provides the ability to fully tailor and configure your environments to support your own unique special needs, and that requires no custom code or specialized skills. We have a management interface that allows you to configure unlimited document types. And by document types, I'm not referring to the file extension of a file. I'm referring to how that document or information is supposed to be used within your organization. Classifications extend to part objects and to other objects, giving you flexibility and control of how you define the different elements that you're storing and tracking data against within your structure. This allows you to adapt our tools to the way that you already run your business instead of having to adapt your business to a tool set. We offer complete part number and document number generation, customizable revision schemes, file naming conventions, integrations into Office and CAD systems, completely customizable workflows and notification framework built right into the system, and it's all manageable by your teams. We assist during implementation with training and providing all of the necessary framework and utility for your teams to be self-sufficient. And we also provide services to act as your admins in the case where your organization isn't large enough or doesn't have the appropriate roles to be able to manage the full solution. We offer those services to be able to help be a partner to your organization and manage those solutions for you. Even if you're currently using some sort of a vault type system today, most of those vault type systems are limited into the data that they're able to store and manage, and they're limited into the user base that is allowed to access those because of them being specific to a CAD system. Typically, your procurement department or your manufacturing department doesn't have access to your CAD design vault because there's not really a reason for them to be storing data in there. Having all of that data in a single source of truth allows for your engineering teams and design teams to do the work that they need. Your technical publications department and other specifications and other departments that are building other product-related materials to also work within that same source of truth. Challenge number 2, productivity drain of disconnected systems. Many companies struggle with a vast array of systems and services and have no common repository. Again, this is maybe addressed with a CAD vault or some other solution like an engineering shared drive where all of your specs and data is stored, but it's not connected all in one place, and not everybody has visibility and access to see only the release data that's relevant to them. Inconsistencies in your data and tools and services often lead to correction work and rework. Without an integrated system, this is also often a manual process that requires your teams to take your engineering design data and enter it into your ERP systems manually, which introduces human error. Utilizing a PLM system to provide that interconnectivity really dramatically improves and streamlines and provides a lot of flexibility in your day-to-day operations. So the biggest challenges with the productivity drain of disconnected systems is your manual data entry burden. You don't want your users to have to enter in data manually at all to begin with, because that's not efficient. But also entering manual data introduces the possibility for errors. And when those errors aren't detected until downstream, a lot of times that can result in some issues where you need to do some rework. All of these inconsistencies and problems in the data set and accessibility to your data ultimately lead to a high maintenance overhead and a more complex IT infrastructure. Our solutions offer native integrations into the tools that you probably use most every day. That includes the Microsoft Office suite. So Outlook, Word, Excel, PowerPoint, even OneNote. Those elements can be stored and managed with revision control within PLM and allow for bidirectional attribute mappings between the objects and allow for centralized access to these items with a relationship to your relevant product data. The part record that a specification belongs to is visible under that part record in PLM. We support integrations into most major mechanical CAD systems: SolidWorks, Solid Edge, Inventor, Creo, CATIA, NX, Autodesk solutions, including AutoCAD, and I'd already mentioned Inventor. There's a long list of these. We offer native integrations into these platforms as well as into Microsoft Office platforms by delivering menus within the actual software you're working in. So if you're working within SolidWorks, you have menus for our solution directly within SolidWorks that allows you to interact with the PLM system It allows you to pull data and search for data from the PLM system and insert it into your models. And when you're done doing your design, the save process from a mechanical CAD system that we integrate into results in all of the part records, document records, all of the linkages between the part records and the document records, and a complete bill of materials based on your CAD design being saved directly into PLM and managed inside of PLM with full access and revision control. We have naming conventions that allow for you, for your CAD designs, to be able to dynamically name those CAD designs in a unique way that makes it easy to read and easily accessible and requires no input from your users. Comes with built-in part number and document number generation features that allow for you to dynamically specify your part numbering algorithm and have the system generate those part numbers for you automatically and write those part numbers that were generated back into the model's properties so that you can use those properties in a drawing template and be able to save from CAD into PLM, generate all of the part numbers and the file names and all of the relationships that are required to track your design, and also provide all of that data back into the model so that with a drawing template, you're able to drag and drop your assembly model onto the drawing template and have all of the metadata in your title block filled out automatically, including a bill of materials on drawing. All of these features are native to the system and come right out of the box. We also include ERP integration functionality. We have several ERP integrations that are pre-configured and ready for deployment with very little maintenance or adjustment required. We also have a generic ERP service that allows for our solution to talk at a base level with nearly any ERP solution that has an API. Our PLM solutions, DMS solution, and PDM solution all come with a full REST API that's customer facing, and also an SDK for anything that needs to be developed specifically for a customer's need. The REST API that we offer is fully customer facing, which means that we have a full documentation within a very common platform called Postman that allows for you to not only access the API and be able to leverage its functionality, but the documentation actually allows for you to create a connection to your test environment, for example, and be able to run native queries directly in your test environment so that you can understand how that API is functioning and be able to leverage it appropriately for your needs. At Cre8tive, we also have a full development team who is able to assist you with any of those needs with the REST API, or if you need some solution that goes beyond the REST API, we have full access to the software development kit and trained development consultants on staff that are completely capable of identifying your particular needs and developing a solution to address those specific needs. The final challenge we wanted to talk about today is the cost of uncontrolled business processes. Inconsistent workflows, manual tracking of approvals, changes, product status, all of these things are the result of uncontrolled business processes. Commonly affected processes that are used within PLM and that relate to this topic are engineering change management, document release, and new product introduction. Of course, there's an entire list of additional processes that are impacted by this, but these are the most common processes that we deploy for customers and that our customers get significant benefit from within our platform. Business processes are a critical aspect of nearly any business. And in this definition, it's really any set of steps that are needed to complete some business operation, whether that's a simple process to review or a more complex process encapsulating multiple steps involving multiple different departments. In order to drive standardization and streamline processes within your organization, they must be followed precisely. They need to be able to have consistent outputs and be able to deliver measurable results on both progress and understanding based on completed processes where there might be gaps to analyze trends and where the process is not as efficient as it should be, so that you can improve upon the process over time. All of these features are delivered within our platform, providing you all of that information based on previous process executions, and also standardizing how your users within our platform do their day-to-day work. In many cases, these processes are already documented at some level, but they don't have any mechanism or ability to be enforced to make sure that the users use those processes religiously. And in a lot of cases, even if they are documented, the users may not know where to go to access that documentation. They may not be notified when something around that documentation changes, or they may, and I see this all the time, understand the process very well and not reference the documentation and do it by heart. And sometimes this, no matter what the intention of the user is, misses steps. And these things often come back downstream and are a source of anxiety and a source of inefficiency, and often relate to rework activities. So on the next slide, we're going to take a look at our out-of-the-box change management process, just to show what an example of one of our business processes looks like. So this is an example of the out-of-the-box change management process delivered with our PLM solution. Again, a process in our solution is defined as a series of steps that are needed to complete a given business task, in this case, change management. Each step is laid out logically and can contain elements of parallel processing, as well as decision-making and routing based on going one direction or another in a process based on a user's input. Each of the steps that you see here in this process represents a task object in PLM. A task is an object that is assigned to a specific user. It has traceability to who it's assigned to, so you can hold people accountable for the things that they're supposed to be doing and when they're supposed to have done it by. And they contain a specific set of instructions for the user to follow. When those instructions are finished and everything in that task is complete, the user will finish that task and will be guided to the next task in the process. You'll see that in some of these tasks, there are multiple outgoing connections, and those represent choices within the system's process. When a user finishes a task that has multiple outgoing connections, they're prompted to choose which direction they should go based on the input that has been received so far. This allows for a very flexible process generation and allows for flexible operation of the process, including things like feedback loops to get corrections made to certain elements, or to make sure that everything is in line with all parties' expectations using parallel processing. Our processes are designed using Microsoft Visio, a tool that a lot of people are already familiar with using. And in a lot of cases, the existing documentation around your processes is probably already done using Visio. We have a integration directly into Microsoft Visio to assist users with building processes using these special task objects. And we allow for you to create your entire business process and lay those business processes out using Microsoft Visio as the platform, and then via our integration, publishing those completed processes into PLM and available for use for your users. This process designer mechanism is a built-in platform, or a built-in part of the overall platform, and Cre8tive has added a set of automation tools that can be used with processes to even further streamline the activities that happen as a part of a process. These automation tool sets allow for upfront delegation of who should be doing what type of task within the process. So you can assign the roles upfront. You can have the system generate prompts to request input from a user to create a document of some kind, or to create revisions, or to move the status of items from one status to another based on the progression of your tasks. Our automation tool has over 25 different automatable events, and those events are driven by these task objects starting and finishing throughout the course of the process. All processes are intended to drive standardization within your business, which, as we've discussed, introduces streamlining and automations around your processes, but also that standardization has another benefit as well. The standardization provides you the ability to get accurate reporting and dashboards to your users to show the current processes and current status of those processes throughout your organization. Let's look at an example of how our change management process can help across different departments, not just engineering or even manufacturing. Let's say an engineering team is notified of or identifies an issue with a given part. They can use our change processes to initiate a change process in PLM, where the steps will be followed in that process to link affected parts to the change process and fill out a change request that's then auditable, traceable, and you can see everything about the entire change process, what's being requested, and even a proposed solution. Our automation tools guide users through that creation of the change request and the linking of the affected items so that everybody is always on the same page within a process and that every process operates in the same way. This process can then involve multiple departments, bringing in the purchasing department, the quality department, your manufacturing department, or maybe even field service and support or regulatory compliance departments to be a part of that change process to make sure that everybody who is needing to have some sort of input on the ultimate change of the part to be able to provide that input up front. That way your engineering teams aren't reworking that part to meet Department 1's needs and then putting it for review, and then Department 2 says they need X, Y, or Z, and they have to go back and get more rework. All of the inputs of all of the relevant departments can be provided right up front. That way your engineer knows all of the things that he needs to do to make sure that this change to this part is successful. So it's not just for engineering departments, which is also a common thing that that I hear from customers is that, maybe the impetus of why a company might be looking at a PLM solution or might be looking at a PDM or even a DMS type solution can be for one given reason. But when you actually look at all of the effects and the ability to streamline that data across all of the different departments, it really is more than just engineering and manufacturing that can benefit from a solution like this. Speaking of dashboards, this is a very simple dashboard, but it's a dashboard that we deliver right out of the box with our processes and allows for, in this case, to show you all of the different change processes that are happening across your organization, give you insights into what stage of those changes are in, and also provide you information about the parts and documents that are affected by those changes. In this case, we see some graphs showing the open problem reports, open change requests, and open change notices, and also the parts that are affected by those change requests and change notices. This dashboard can provide you a good point in time look at all of the different processes that are proceeding through your system at a given point and give you good visibility into where each of those are at in its life cycle. Each of the elements of those pie charts can be clicked to bring you to more concise information about a filtered view of what you're looking at. And these dashboards are all delivered with our processes and are easily managed and configurable and changeable using the native SQL Server reporting services functionality. We also provide a number of other reports that are useful in change processes and other processes. A lot of customers have existing forms for changes or for other business processes that require users to input a certain amount of data into those forms. And a lot of times those forms are based on templates from Microsoft Office documentation like Excel or Word. And having those forms become a digital form within the PLM system can provide a lot of benefits, especially around searchability and duplication of input. We want to be able to search for elements of your change request. So maybe somebody wants to search just for elements of the comments or the priority or where it was received from, whether that change request was originated from a customer or was originated from a manufacturing engineer on the shop floor, or maybe an engineer during a review process. Having that data within the PLM system as a metadata attribute allows for you to be able to search for and filter by that criteria. And with our integration into Microsoft Office, your user only has to input that data one time into the digital form of PLM, and we can have an associated template Excel or even just a report provide you with the view of that data that your users are used to seeing. In many cases, we have Excel sheets for change requests. And entering that data into a digital form in PLM, we're then able to deliver that entered information into the appropriate sheets in the Excel, or create a report that looks just like the Excel, so that your users are not looking at a completely different form than what they're already used to. Again, this is another method that our solution aims to adapt itself to the way that you already do business, not make your business adapt to the way that the software works. This is an important and crucial differentiator between our solution and a lot of other solutions that do similar things. Status workflows within the PLM system are used to define the main stages of a given object in its life cycle. Typically, these status workflows begin in a new or WIP, work in progress state, and are followed by a review state, and then ultimately approved or released state. All items within PLM have a status element associated with them. It provides information to users in the system to indicate what state in a given object's life cycle that object is in. It also helps control permissions within the PLM system. For example, engineering users would be able to create new part records and new CAD model records and etc. drawings. And when they do that, it'll be in a work in progress status within PLM while they're still finishing that design. And when an object is in work in progress status, the engineering teams will have access to make changes to that item. When that item is ready for review, the engineer will change that item to a review status. That review status will now alter the permissions in the system and change that so that those users who are a member of the engineering team are no longer able to make changes to that. Maybe only engineering management users are able to make changes to that. Or maybe the engineering manager will just make his decision, and if there needs to be changes made, he'll put it back into WIP, which will then allow for the engineer to make the changes requested. These status workflows exist in the system pre-built and are completely tailorable to your needs by your administration team via training that they receive during the implementation process. I want to be clear that our goal is to make you as self-sufficient within this platform as possible, but we will always be a partner for you and able to assist you in any of those needs as you move forward. All elements of PLM have these statuses. So whether you were talking about a part, like you see in the top left-hand corner, a part status workflow. In the bottom left-hand corner, that is a document status workflow, specifically for the specification document that comes out of the box with our system. And you can see that there's, in the top right, a problem report document status workflow, and in the bottom right, a project status workflow. Projects, documents, parts, these are all objects within the PLM system that allow you traceability and trackability of your data in different ways. A part record in PLM is an element that can be used in a bill of materials to create a bill of materials position. It contains data like revision, whether it's a manufactured or a purchased part number, description, all of those elements that you would be used to seeing in an ERP system. A document within PLM is a record that is typically associated with a file and contains information about that given document. For example, a model document record would be linked to a part and would probably have a CAD design tied to it, which is where that part originated from, most of the time from a CAD integration that we support. A project is an object that's designed to collect all of the data related to a given product, or potentially a given customer, or some other method of organization of the documents and parts that belong to that element. Within the PLM system, we also have, for document records, 3D previews. So for CAD document records, CAD models and assemblies, as a part of your save process from your CAD system into PLM, we have the ability to generate these lightweight previews and provide them for viewability within the system so that all of your users across departments can get a three-dimensional view of this data. The job server functionality that's also included with our PLM solution allows for your teams to define at what point in the status workflow for a given item, a neutral format of that item should be generated and attached into the product structure. For example, if you have a drawing, when that drawing becomes released, we can have the job server create a PDF of that drawing and link it into the product structure. This way, that PDF can be what you send to, for example, an ERP system as an attachment to that part record, so that your manufacturing engineers on the shop floor don't have to have specialized viewing capability and don't have to have a special CAD license to be able to see the data that they're working with. They're able to see that from a neutral format that's much more accessible. This includes 3D PDFs. So if you have a model or assembly, you are able to create a 3D PDF of that, and in the same way, use that for your attachment on the ERP side. Our system provides that product structure that I've been mentioning in a visible way within the client interface. You can see in the structure view all of the items and their relationships between each other. So I can expand this entire form out to provide a really kind of top-down look of everything that is associated to your product structure. This top-down look provides you with a visual interface that you can expand and collapse as needed to dive down deep into your product structure. Conversely, from this top-down look, we also have a where used look, where we can look at a given object and see the other objects in PLM that use that object. And we can drill that down, or up in this case, as far as we need to go, allowing us to identify a component part within a sub-level of an assembly and use this interface to completely show us everywhere where that part is used and expand that to be everywhere where the part that uses that part is used, all the way up the tree. This is an extremely beneficial functionality, especially with respect to change processes, and especially with respect to change processes where all of the data around a product is stored in your centralized repository, creating your single source of truth. If you can imagine, a part needs to change, and if this was a traditional vault solution or even something that's just stored on a network drive, there may not be clarity into all the other things that are associated to that part that you're changing. There may be technical manuals that also need to change in relation to the change that you're making. There may be specifications or certifications that need to be recertified. There may be quality documentation that needs to be redone based on the change. And having the centralized source of truth, especially with the ability to see where used and the structure of your product data, gives you unparalleled visibility into those things that need to change along with a part that might not have otherwise been visible. In addition to that, embracing the future, AI is everywhere. A common question that I've received over the past few months, and even beyond that, to be honest, is where is PLM and AI, and what is the intersection there? How can I leverage AI within my PLM solution, or what benefits can I achieve by doing so? Over the next few months, we'll be rolling out several AI-assisted features into the platform, and these functionalities tie into these recent trends in the industry, but also allow unique opportunities for companies who want to leverage the APIs that they may have access to, both within our PLM system and potentially within other auxiliary systems that may have a need to be connected to the PLM system, and leverage the power of AI to make that a seamless transition and ease the user strain in those transitions. Things like being able to provide within our user interface an AI-assisted guidance to ask the system, how do I create a part record? Or how do I manage the links between objects? Or even how am I supposed to do X, Y, or Z based on my company's specific process? All of this data can be incorporated and have an AI-assisted agent guide your users through those different steps and how to use the system as a whole. Also, AI-powered intelligent search, providing AI access to subsets or pieces of your data set to be able to help answer questions about your products or customers' support, for instance, or to just be able to talk with in a native language, a chat box, to be able to provide you with search results that are relevant to what you're wanting to search for without having to go and do that search manually within the system. Other areas that we're integrating AI into our platform are with document recognition. So when you're saving a new document record into PLM, maybe it's something that you've received from your customer via email, and you just want to save that into PLM. One of the first slides that we talked about was that we have the ability to create unlimited amounts of document types, and those document types can have unlimited amounts of metadata that you want to be filled out for searchability and filterability within your document records. Leveraging AI to help do that can be a very beneficial feature and save a lot of time and reduce human error in categorization by analyzing the data that you're trying to store into PLM, filling out relevant metadata automatically, and choosing the correct document type, perhaps even suggesting a part to link to, things like that. And then finally, AI-driven workflow integration. We recognize at Cre8tive that there are a number of different platforms and systems that you might use, not necessarily to control or store your data, but to help you provide access to external parties or to help you get approvals from external parties, or be able to guide other areas of your business that might just tangentially touch the data that's stored in PLM. Combining AI with external workflow applications like a Power Automate or N8N or an iPaaS solution like WorkAuto or Boomi are things that we want to incorporate into our platform to allow your teams the flexibility to use those solutions where they fit. I think that integrating AI into PLM is not necessarily something that's for everyone, but it is definitely something that the industry is talking about, is moving further and further towards, and we're trying to be ahead of the curve here by incorporating these different types of abilities within our platform in a way that allows our customer to decide how they want to use them, or if they want to use them. So what are the solutions that Cre8tive offers for our PLM, DMS, and PDM type solutions? We have 3 different types of software platform, and it really is based on the customer's needs at the time and what they're looking to achieve out of a solution like what we offer. We start with a DMS Essentials offering, which is effectively document management. The DMS Essentials platform does not contain part records or bills of materials. It doesn't have an ERP integration. It does have document management, projects for product data structure, and business process management. It's aimed to be a document management solution for you to control your data chaos, but also provide you with the business process management framework required to control the processes around that documentation. It's designed to be a stepping stone for when you're ready to incorporate part records, bills of materials, integration into your ERP systems, and etc., that it's ready for that when you are. You're not forced to implement parts and bills of materials and go through all of the overhead of getting all of that integrated with your ERP in order for you to just take advantage of the document management capabilities. You can start with DMS Essentials and seamlessly upgrade and incorporate parts, bills of materials, and ERP integration by moving to the Turnkey PLM platform. Our Turnkey PLM platform is all of the things that DMS Essentials has, plus parts and BOMs and ERP integration. We have a 3D BOM editor and comparison tool. There are many reports and pre-built processes that are related to part record management that we deliver. And our environment is pre-configured, meaning that all of the functionalities that I've talked about today are delivered out of the box from day one and can be fully configured and tailored and expanded upon based on your specific customer needs. The benefit of this pre-configured environment is that we're able to deploy our system environment and train your users on how that out-of-the-box configuration is configured to work and how the software functions and how to use it in about 12 weeks. And then we also provide enterprise PLM services. And it's important to note here that our enterprise PLM solution itself starts with the Turnkey PLM foundation. We don't want you to have to reinvent the wheel. We've been through hundreds of these implementations, and our pre-configured environment is based on what we have seen be common denominators in over 85% of those implementations. There is common elements to the PLM solution for most every implementation, but there are also stark differences. And the difference, that 15%, call it, is what really makes the system a system for your company rather than a generic system. So we've tailored that environment to be the 85% out of the box. And we provide your teams with training both on the user side and the administration and configuration side for how your teams can use the system and tailor it to their needs. Our enterprise PLM platform is designed to start from that base platform of Turnkey PLM and expand out upon that based on your specific customer needs. Our support teams here at Cre8tive were part of the reason why we shifted to a turnkey implementation strategy. Without a turnkey implementation strategy, every different customer is a unique environment. And in order to provide the best level of support for our customers without having to have specific understanding of each customer's unique configured environment, the turnkey-based platform allows our support teams to understand your system at a much, much faster rate. So to kind of recap a little bit, our PLM system and DMS system and PDM system offers a number of different commonly used functionalities to address common challenges that we see across all the businesses and companies that we've implemented for. One of the biggest factors that we see and positive feedback that we see is in our implementation time frame. 12 weeks for an implementation of a pre-configured turnkey PLM environment versus a traditional PLM environment where every little aspect of the system has to be defined meticulously and customized within a platform specifically for you. Those full implementation projects that do not involve our turnkey PLM often span more than a year in implementation. Our team has 30+ years experience specialized in manufacturing and engineering technology, and our solution provides 100% functionality for comparative solutions. So at this time, we're going to go ahead and open up to questions and answers. If there are any questions, I think either Bob or Mary Chris was going to handle that.
Okay, we do have a question for you, Jacob.
Okay.
What is the best way of getting started with understanding the details of today's topics?
Well, that QR code right there is probably the best option. If you scan this QR code, you'll go to a little landing page where you can provide just a very simple amount of information and a brief discussion or a brief description about what exactly you want some clarity on. And from that, we will have our team reach out and set up a discussion where we can talk about each of those things.
Thank you. Right, that's all the questions for today.
Okay. Well, it looks like we're right on time, maybe a minute over. I really appreciate everybody's time and attention to our presentation today, and we hope that you get some good benefit out of this. And if there's any questions for us, please scan the QR code and let us know, and we will be in touch.
Thanks, everyone.